So welcome everyone. My name is Jan Lehman. I am the owner of CTC Productivity, and with me are two of our fabulous team members. We have Nancy Krushke, who is our training expert, and we always joke that Nancy is the patience of a saint and works fabulously with all levels of technical skill sets. And then Arnie Howes is with us as well. Arnie is our business process improvement guru, and both of them are experts in Microsoft 365. So if you're joining us for the first time or you've been along for the ride for a year and a half, we've been doing these webinars, and Arnie's going to enter some information into chat. If you want to go look at past webinars, they're out on the CTC Productivity website. You also can follow our YouTube channel, and all of our webinars are out there. And we'd encourage you to sign up for our newsletter, because then you'll get advance notice of upcoming webinars. And I feel like there's something else in our link. I can't remember what the fourth one is, but so, oh, and also this registration for the next webinar coming up. That's what the fourth link is. So anyway, but welcome. The format that we do is we usually do a 20-minute deep dive on a particular topic and then open it up for Q&A. So feel free to start at any point entering your questions into the Q&A field, and we'll get to those near the end. And the topic for today is about how to schedule meetings with people outside of your organization. And so Nancy's going to be covering off on that one. And the next month, we actually are going to take the month of June off. We all have some vacations and different things going on. I love this. This makes me so happy. Mine's unfortunately not beach vacation. Mine's college orientation, different things. But so June, we're going to take off. But in July, the next topic is going to be a really interesting topic. And it's really about how do organizations ensure full adoption of Microsoft 365. So many of our clients are kind of experimenting with 365, trying to adopt it, and they can't really get the momentum and have it be incorporated across the whole company. And Arnie is going to be leading this conversation and really talking about how it's really a leadership problem, not a training problem. It's about leadership really having the excitement and the vision around what 365 is going to do and setting expectations on how to use the tool. And so it'll be a really interesting conversation for us. So I'm going to just touch on a couple slides, and then I'll pass it over to Nancy. So the focus of our webinars is really how do you actually solve business issues by leveraging technology. So we don't come in saying, oh, you need to use this app and that app. It's really about what are the business issues that we're seeing that our clients are faced with. And the topic today is really around how do you automate time-consuming repetitive tasks? Because as productivity consultants, we want to take advantage of technology. And so scheduling outside meetings with other people is definitely a time-consuming and a very stressful task. And there's ways to automate it very simply within using the Microsoft 365 tools. So we're excited to share that with you today. There are a number of business issues that we typically see our clients having, and we are super excited about the power of Microsoft 365 and that it really helps address many of these issues. Issues around organization and communication, collaboration. And I actually just learned something the other day. We're always kind of trying to pay attention to what exactly Google is doing and what does that look like. We definitely are biased in that we believe 365 is the end all be all. But I did get a perspective the other day from a client that is working in the Google environment and comparing it to 365. And they said one of the big differences that they're seeing is that Google has great search, and so does 365, but Google doesn't have quite the organization structure that 365 has. And that's one of my favorite things with 365, that it organizes all the information and makes it easy for you to find it. There's logical places to look. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit to share. But there's a number of different business issues that 365 can solve. And then in addition, because we know the way we're working now is definitely hybrid and remote work, 365 becomes really an indispensable tool for all businesses. So super excited we get to share some of the ways you can use 365. And then lastly, this is a slide that just talks about some of the benefits of using 365. There's lots of studies out there. And Nancy, want to advance? Awesome, thank you. There's lots of different studies out there. My favorite one here is really the reduction in meetings, because we are seeing our clients just drowning in meetings. So lots of great benefits to use 365. So on that note, I'll pass it over to Nancy to woo us about some fun things in 365.
All right. So glad to be here today. All right, let's get my computer working. So what we're talking about is the Bookings app, which it has taken me a while to get on board because I'm a little bit of a control freak. But the more I play with the Bookings app and the more I help clients with it, I'm like, wow, this is an amazing tool. So hopefully you will see the benefits as I go through the information today. So what exactly is Microsoft Bookings? It's a simple and easy way to organize schedules and manage appointments, specifically letting others go ahead and manage and set up those appointments without you having to be involved. That is the coolest thing. It has the flexibility for others to book that time that works best for them. So if you have any of your organizations, maybe it's your hairdresser, maybe it's your mechanic, that they say, here, just go ahead and see what's available and book what works in your calendar. That's exactly what you have the ability to do here. You can set it up, excuse me, it has automated email and text notifications, which, as we know, I love mine from my hairdresser the day before. Hey, reminder, you're getting your hair cut tomorrow. And so it really reduces the no-shows for those external people that are scheduling on your calendar. It reduces that repetitive scheduling task. As soon as it's scheduled, it goes ahead, it adds it to their calendar, it adds it to your calendar, and you don't have to do anything but show up as well. It's web-based calendar integrated with Outlook, and it's so cool of how that integration works. And it's automatically, if you want it to, it can set up a Teams meeting. So if you say when they book, it's automatically a Teams meeting, then you're able to just go to the meeting notice, join the Teams meeting, and have those virtual appointments. What are some of the components? There's a bookings page, and I'll show you what that looks like as we go through here. But this is where your customers, your clients, or even your colleagues can go to schedule appointments. Sometimes organizations don't share calendars amongst staff. And so it could be easy to have a bookings page, and that's how people schedule with you. They get to choose a staff member who is providing that service or who is running that appointment internally. And they can go ahead and select who that's for. You can share this web-based scheduling page via a direct link. I put it in my signature line. So actually everybody that gets an email from me has the link to my bookings page to go ahead and schedule. You can put the link on your Facebook or your LinkedIn, and you can even embed it inside of your website. And so if you want to easily allow people to schedule right from your website, you can do that.
Hey, Nancy, can I chime in about something? So a lot of people are fearful about putting the links like in their signature line or their email and different things, thinking like all these people are just going to hop on their calendar. Really, we don't see that as a problem. Most people aren't going to just hop on your calendar unless they've been invited. So so give it a try.
Right. The web-based business-facing pages, this is where the administrator or the owner of the calendar. So if I own the calendar, I get to go in and I can define those appointment types. What are the details of that appointment? Which staff in my organization is available for that type of appointment? Set up my business hours, customize how the appointments are scheduled. There's this whole administrative page in there that just helps you go ahead. And it gives you that versatility to fit those diverse needs of your organization. And I'm going to show you some samples. The other component of it is there's a mobile app. So you can manage your mobile app. The administrator of the organization or of that calendar can manage it in the mobile app. So you can see all your appointments, you can access your customer list, your contact information, and make bookings on the go. I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So where is bookings available? Which one of the Microsoft 365 and Office 365 plans? As you can see, it is in almost all of them. I'm not even sure what's missing here. I just copied this from the Microsoft page, so I don't remember it saying, and these plans don't include bookings. So almost every 365 plan out there includes the Bookings app. They've also integrated it right into Microsoft Teams. And the whole goal of bringing bookings into Teams is to help track, manage, and organize your team's appointments and calendars in one place. And so you're able to pop in there if you have a calendar, and you can see who has, let's try that again. Which members of your team can be booked and what their availability is right in the calendar inside of the Teams app. So that you can create that bookings calendar and view your staff's availability right within the calendar, and not necessarily having to go and go, all right, what staff do I have to find as you're trying to use the schedule assistance and schedule an appointment. This just shows what are the differences. If I'm using the Bookings web app, or if I'm booking the team using the Bookings Teams app, what are the differences? And you can find this on Microsoft. You can just go ahead and search, whether using Bing or Google, and pull this up for yourself to compare. So you will see there's a few things that you cannot do in the Teams booking app. So add staff with guest permissions, no. Schedule an in-person or offline booking, you can't do that. Schedule group or multiple customer, no. Set a logo, no. Set your business hours, no. So there are certain things that in that bookings calendar you create, it can be pulled into the Teams booking app, but it does need to be administered in the Bookings web app so that you can do some of those things that inside of Teams you're seeing no. Doesn't mean it can't be done, you just need to do it in the web app instead. So let's take a look at some of those customizing, and customizing your services. So what services do you offer? What type of meetings are you regularly scheduling with your team members? Are you scheduling one-on-one meetings? And it's like, oh my gosh, it takes forever. And we go back and forth, even though they have access to my calendar. And so you can go ahead and set up, all right, here, I'm going to do a bookings calendar for my one-on-one. And you can identify that they can only schedule one-on-one meetings at certain times of the day, certain days of the week. Do you need to schedule project update meetings, and how long do you want it to be? Microsoft training sessions, if that's something that you're scheduling. So you get to choose what these are and set those up. And so when we're in, so this is part of the web admin page that you're going into, and here's your services. You get to come in here and you get to add and edit the services. All the details of your services are going to go in here. So when I go ahead and click edit, here's my basic details. What's the service name and the description? Do I want that to be a Teams meeting? I can put that in there. How long is this particular service? And do I want buffer time on it? Is there a price for it if you're an independent contractor? Internally, you're probably not going to put a price on for your team members, but who knows? Do you want to allow them to go ahead and manage their own appointment? Can they reschedule it once it's booked? And then we have the availability. When do you want the available, do you want it? What's your lead time? They can't book anything within 24 hours. Is it 48 hours? Is it you don't want anybody to book anything this week? You get control of that. How long is that? Do you want to look at the calendar in 30-minute increments or only 1-hour increments? And how far is the lead time? These are the defaults that are in there. I decided for me personally, I don't want 365 days. They get a 30-day calendar view. I don't want somebody going and scheduling something, a year from now. And I'm like, what? Where'd that come from? If you have multiple staff, so you can choose staff. So I have one organization that they use bookings all the time, and that is really, they push us there. And we get to choose, it says, okay, this is the type of meeting that I'm scheduling, and it pops up, here's the staff that they've applied and said, hey, of the 15 staff we have, here's the 3 people you get to book with. And so I get to choose if I want a specific person. If you don't want your customers to choose, then it just goes ahead and it picks whoever's available and it just assigns a staff member to them. What customer information do you want them to enter? And you can turn these on and make them required, that they need to enter their email, their phone number, if you're going to call them, or if you need to call them. Do you want their address? Do you want them to put some notes in there? and you can add customized fields. So if you want to ask them a specific question, so for Microsoft Teams training, might want a specific question. What aspect of Microsoft Teams did you want to discuss today? And so that they can give you that kind of information. Or what is the agenda for our one-on-one meeting? You can put that in there and make it a required field that they have to fill in. I think one of the coolest things, because especially if it's somebody outside the organization, those reminders, right? To get an email reminder or to get a text reminder to say, hey, your meeting is coming up. And you can go in here and say, when do you want it? Is it a day before? Is it an hour before? Is it 15 minutes before? And what do you want to tell them? And do you want text messages sent? So if you require their phone number, they can also go ahead and get the text messages for that reminder as well, or in I don't know if it's one or the other, or if you choose text messages, you're going to get both. I haven't tested that particular one out. But like I said, my hairdresser ones I love. So what does that bookings link look like? So this is the full link, right? So it's the Outlook.Office 365 and OWA is Outlook Web App Calendar. Then it's the name of the calendar, which you get to name it. And I played around with mine personally to go, what do I want to name mine? Because that's what people are going to see. And then it's the domain name, so your company name, and then it's bookings. So here's what Jan's might look like. And this is a big, long link. Now, when we put this in our email signature, we don't put this whole link. People don't get to see this big link. We do a hyperlink and we put a name on there. So mine says Book with Nancy. And then all of this is kind of behind the scenes. When that link is clicked on, this is the page that they see on the web. And it shows for Jan, here's all the service options. She has, you can schedule 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes with her. And when you select the service, it goes ahead and says, all right, pick the date. When do you want to schedule it? The black is when Jan is available. The grayed out one, she has no availability on that day. It tells me what time zone these are in. I can change that if I need to when I'm scheduling this. If I'm on the East Coast, I can go ahead, or if I'm Pacific time, so that I can see how they match my time zone and not Jan's time zone. And then it shows what times are available. So Jan must have this set up in 15-minute increments. And so I can either book at 8 o'clock or at 8:15 with her on the 9th. When that is scheduled, filled in the rest of the form, what happens is that I get an email, as well as the person booking gets an email. And it says, hey, your booking is confirmed. It was initial consultation with Nancy for 45 minutes. Here are all the details of it. And if I need to reschedule, if I'm allowing anyone to reschedule, there's a reschedule link. I can choose not to allow them to reschedule, but I think it's more important that we do allow our external partners and customers and clients to be able to reschedule if it just isn't working for them. I also get, as the owner of this calendar and the admin of this calendar, I actually get a couple of emails. One that says, hey, someone booked, and one that says a new booking was scheduled for you. And so this is what that email looks like. All right. So you can have multiple calendars. What if you don't want to have different services? Now, Jan just had on hers 3 different time frames, right? Do you need 30 minutes with me, 60 or 90? We have one of our clients that she offers 2 very different services. And one of them is a massage service, and the other one is a coaching service. And I know that's like, wow, those are very different. And yes, they are. But so her massage is not offered every day of the week. So we created a massage calendar, bookings calendar. And that is only, the availability is only Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays after 4 o'clock. And so that allows her to control when people are able to book her massages. Her coaching then is a different calendar. So it's a totally different link. It only has the coaching services that she offers. And it also, she was able to define when is she available for coaching. So are her coaching sessions 60 minutes or 90 minutes? And are they only available between 9 and 1? Or is it all day Monday? And so she can define all those specifics of those two different calendars. And then she's only sharing the calendar for her coaching with her coaching clients. And she's only sharing the massage calendar with her massage clients. It also gives her the ability. So one of the things with massage is that she found, I don't necessarily want to share my massage calendar, but I want to be able to quickly book them on the app when we're finished with the massage and pull up my calendar, but make sure that I'm only looking at those days that I have allocated for massage. And so it's working perfect for her in that way. So that's why you'd want to do some multiple bookings calendars, because you have different service offerings or meeting types, different times of day, availability, staff members or different staff members are available. So just like I talked about with that client that we're working with. And here's an example, coaching services. Maybe my initial coaching consultation is 90 minutes, and this is when it's offering, and here's the staff members that can do that. But then I also have, once we're done with the initial consultation, our sessions are 45 minutes, and it's the same availability with those same staff members. So that's an example of what that might look like. Maybe you want to use bookings internally, or maybe this is external, that you offer certain IT services, in this case, setting up teams, and that can be a calendar. That to set up teams is a 90-minute meeting. Only availability is Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 2, and Sophia is that staff member. So you can go into the availability and you can change this and say, hey, it's only available from 10 to 2. So it's not available any time of the days or the weeks. And it's only Sophia is the only one that goes ahead and does the team setup. There happens to be another IT service, SharePoint training. That's a 2-hour session, Tuesdays and Thursdays with Hector. And so again, you get that customization for each of those calendars. If there's different staff and different types of services. So there's another thing coming up, and Microsoft is always changing, right? So first they rolled out bookings and it was only available with that web link, and you put it on your website, you put it in your email, you share it with people, you administer it, it's all on the web, and you can also access it on the bookings app on a mobile device. Then they pulled it into Teams. Now they are going to actually pull bookings right into the Outlook web calendar. So it's not going to be in the desktop app, it's going to be on the web calendar. And this version is designed for the mailbox owner only, where when you put it in the company portal and you design it and set it up, you can share, I can administer a calendar for many people. But this one that's going to be pulled into the Outlook web app is just for you. It's your own calendar you get to set up. The access is only going to be via the Outlook web calendar. You can create your custom meeting types. Everyone who signs up, schedules a meeting is going to receive confirmations, and they're expecting the complete rollout at the end of June. Tried to find some images, couldn't find any right now. Because they're just, I don't know, couldn't find any. So by the end of June, I'm going to be excited to log on to my Outlook web app, web calendar, and go ahead and see what my bookings calendar looks like inside of there. So as you can see, there's just a lot of stuff in here. I love it. Jan uses it. And it's just, it really, really helps that back and forth, whether it's internal or definitely external, of sending that link out. And letting them go ahead and pick the day and time that works best for them. Whew. All right, Jan.
Awesome. Good job, Nance. You always end up on time. You rock. So if you have any questions, go ahead and start entering them into chat. And I'm just going to wrap up here. I did want to make a couple comments. One, yeah, Nancy and Arnie, I feel like you guys have a full-time job keeping up to speed on what's changing with 365 because it's constant. So you guys do a great job. Comment that a couple people have asked me in the past when I talk about bookings is they're like, I don't want a separate calendar to maintain. And so Nancy, you probably said this, but just to make sure people understood, it's linking back to your Outlook calendar. You have one calendar it's looking at, it's not two separate calendars. I'll be honest, I found this a little difficult to set up on my own. My team laughs at me because I'm sort of techie, but not as techie as they are. But it was a little frustrating. So it might be one of the apps you dive into and it's not quite as intuitive and obvious, but we want to make you aware of the power of 365. And again, if this is where you see your organization spending a lot of time scheduling meetings, then absolutely it's worth pursuing to understand how to set the app up. One of the things that I do that I love with bookings is we are adamant as productivity consultants that you shouldn't be in back-to-back meetings. It's just dumb, I'll be honest, because you come out of one meeting, your head is all wrapped around all these ideas and thoughts, and then you switch gears to something else, and it's just a waste. And so it's always better to have white space between meetings. And so what I like is in my booking app, I have it set up where I put a 15-minute buffer before and after, so that coming out of a meeting, I have 15 minutes to summarize my thoughts from a coaching call or whatever, and then 15 minutes to get ready for the next, which is perfect productivity. And last thing, just from an etiquette standpoint, this is kind of a new tool for a lot of people. Some of us are getting used to it. It's mainstream, but there are some people that might look at this like, what, you're making me do your administrative work? And so from an etiquette standpoint, we often say in our signature line, you know, if you would be interested, please feel free to use my scheduling app or let me know when you have times you're available. So you give them kind of different options. Most people are tending towards self-service scheduling because it's just easier for all, but just a little point there. So awesome. Well, I'm just going to wrap up because what happens at this point is anybody logging on that's never heard of us is like, oh, they're just about Microsoft 365. So we are much broader than that. We definitely are all about helping companies leverage technology where it makes sense. But we really do it more from a business process improvement standpoint. Again, quite often we're getting companies calling us and they've been tinkering with 365, but they don't really get how they're going to use it. And we're like, let's bring Arnie in. Arnie can kind of look at your processes and look at how we really should configure 365 to eliminate as many pain points as possible. So that's one aspect of what we do. We also do a lot of individual coaching. We do a lot of keynote speaking, training, things like that. On various topics related to productivity or how to be an effective leader. And project management for the everyday manager is one of our hottest topics this year, I'd say. Plus, Nancy's busy every week with 365 training for sure. And then, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then a reminder that we're taking a break next month. Yay. I'm sure the team's super happy. And then we'll be back on in July. So Arnie's going to go ahead and enter into chat all those links one more time so you have them, or you can probably just scroll back because there hasn't been a lot of chatter. But the July call is going to definitely be very interesting. If you're in a leadership position and you're trying to figure out how do I get my company to really adopt this software because I understand the power of it, I know what it can do, that would be a great session to attend, or watch the recording afterwards, either through YouTube or on our website. And so on that note, we'll go ahead and open it up for Q&A, and feel free to unmute yourself or just enter in chat. It's kind of a quiet group so far, which is totally fine. Oh, there are some questions. Nancy, do you see those questions?
Yep.
Okay.
So Jamie asked, is there a way to allow multiple people to sign up for the same time slot? For example, if we're able to take 6 people at a time for a group training, but no more than 6 is allowed. Yes, with that, and let me see if I can get back to that slide real quickly here. When you are setting this up down here, it's in the basic details, the maximum number of attendees. And so if you are saying, yep, at this time slot, I do 6 people could sign up for the same time slot. So if you were offering that service was, Teams training or consulting or whatever that training was or that meeting was, that multiple people could go and pick that same time slot.
Awesome. Any other questions? And they don't necessarily, thanks, Jamie. Nancy, perfect as always. They don't necessarily have to be questions. We like to start the questions around the topic that we're discussing. So if there's any more questions around bookings, now would be a great time to bring it up. But you also are welcome to ask any questions around 365. I like to stump the speakers. Let's see if we can stump Nancy and Arnie because it's fun.
So one of the things that Jan mentioned on her calendar is that she puts the buffer on there. But when she used to use Calendly, she's now moved away from Calendly and Google and into Microsoft. And she was a little frustrated at first because it looks like the meeting starts during that buffer time. So there was a little bit of a learning curve that she had to go, oh, it says 10:45, but I know that's my buffer time and my meeting doesn't start until 11. So that is how she has chosen to do and to retrain her brain for that. I, on the other hand, said, oh my gosh, no, that's going to drive me nuts. So I chose not to do buffer time. And I know it's a manual process, but I want to put my own buffer time in there. And so I block it on my calendar myself so that I know that when that meeting is there at 11 o'clock, it starts at 11 o'clock, not at 11:15.
Yeah, good point, Nancy. It is confusing because it'll be like, I'll be like, why did they book a 90-minute meeting? And I'm like, oh, it's really an hour, but it's got the buffer. It is confusing. But I love that they can't just stack them one on top of the other. So, well, I don't see any other questions coming through. Again, we'll give it one more minute. If you've got questions about bookings or anything about 365 or anything about what we do, we'd be happy to answer that. But otherwise, we hope you learned a lot today and you're intrigued about 365 because you're probably paying for this functionality and have been for a few years. So it's good that you know about it now. So, perfect. All right. Well, I think we'll bring it to a close. So thanks, everyone. Appreciate you attending. Please join us. Enjoy your June and please join us again in July.